Hello, everybody. I'm Jay Lynn, and I just recently hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube playing Minecraft, which I'm really thankful for and super excited about. And I thought it'd be fun to step away from the normal Let's Play format and use this video to actually introduce myself a little bit and talk a little about how I'm approaching my channel. Just to have something in the background, I'll be building some custom trees around these new tree houses here and just upgrade the area a little bit, but I'm just going to be chatting over the top. And I'm not going to get too deep into my personal life or anything at this time, and for now I don't plan on using a face cam or anything, because to be honest, there's just something liberating about having this kind of be its own thing, completely separate from the real world, I guess you'd say. But yeah, I will start with the fact that I'm probably older than many of you might have assumed, as I'm just about to turn 38 years old. So I'm kind of an old man. But that's an example of why Minecraft is so cool, because probably more than any other game, it can be enjoyed by literally all ages and just enjoyed in so many different ways. That's why it's lasted so long. But I've worked in the restaurant business for 20 years now as my day job. Keep the bills paid, and I play drums in a cover band on the side as a bit of a side hustle. And the two gigs just go together really well for me, and I've got a pretty decent thing going here. And although drums are the only instrument I really know how to play, I'd still consider myself a bit of a music nerd, mainly just because I love listening to music. I thought it'd be kind of fun to just go through and list some of my favorite stuff, as well as some of my favorite movies and games and shows. I figure that's a decent way to learn about somebody. So yeah, as I've gotten older, I don't seek out new music quite like I used to, but I've got a pretty wide range of stuff I like. I grew up listening mainly to hip-hop, so I'm pretty well versed in 90s and 2000s hip-hop world, but I picked up the drums when I was 20 years old, and my music taste took a pretty big turn to where it's at now, where I'm more into different kinds of rock, alternative indie rock, electronic type stuff. Just to name a few of my favorite bands in order of kind of the eras they played in. I do like good old classic rock, Jimi Hendrix, Tom Petty, Beatles, all that good stuff, as well as old 90s grunge, Nirvana and Pearl Jam. The band that was really the bridge from hip-hop into just about everything else for me was the Red Hot Chili Peppers, so I gotta say Red Hot Chili Peppers are probably near the top of the list, as well as Radiohead. Those were two of my favorite bands for a very long time. But yeah, all kinds of 90s alternative stuff I'm really into. Weezer's another one of my favorites. And some bands that would be further away from the mainstream, I guess you would say, would be bands like The Flaming Lips, Modest Mouse, Broken Social Scene, Arcade Fire. And a few of my favorite newer bands would be Tame Impala, which is one of my favorite bands at the moment, and Alt J and The National I was really into for a while, and I recently discovered Lord Huron. I'm really liking them, but I honestly could go on forever. And yeah, I'm also a gamer, as you might have guessed, and although I do really like to be up on all the new games coming out, and I often give them a try, I'm really bad at finishing games, and I usually end up circling back to my two comfort games, which obviously is Minecraft and also NBA 2K. Kind of a weird combo, I know, but it works for me. I've been playing both those games for a very long time. But I am a big fan of the Elder Scrolls games and the Fallout games. I like me a good RPG. I also like a good strategy game from time to time, like Total War games and Crusader Kings. And of course, I like a good relaxing game like The Sims or Stardew Valley, which I haven't played either of those in a while, and I could honestly see myself someday starting a second YouTube channel based around more of the relaxing style games like Stardew Valley, The Sims, and maybe even strategy games. I don't know, but that's for future me to think about. But yeah, well, we're going on these lists. I'll hop on to movies here, and I honestly don't really watch movies too often anymore, so a lot of these will be a little bit out of date. And comedies were always my thing, always my favorite, and they honestly just don't make them like they used to. But yeah, just to name a few favorites, I would say Step Brothers and Superbad are pretty much a tie for, I think, the funniest movies in the world. As well as Anchorman, Dumb and Dumber, all the early Jim Carrey movies. all the early Adam Sandler movies. Big Daddy's one of my favorites. Tommy Boy, Road Trip. Again, I could go on forever, but that just kind of gives you an idea of my taste in comedies. Some of my favorite non-comedies would be Forrest Gump, which I would argue is one of the best movies ever made, as well as Goodfellas, Remember the Titans. I like the Bourne movies. An underrated but great movie is Blood Diamond with Leonardo DiCaprio. And speaking of Leo, Wolf of Wall Street, Catch Me If You Can. So many good movies, but like I said, most of them are pre-2010. As far as some of my favorite TV shows, probably a pretty typical list. Game of Thrones, which I would argue the ending isn't as bad as everyone made it out to be, and if it scared you away, don't let it scare you away. It's one of the best shows ever. And Breaking Bad, of course, The Wire. I like me a good comedy, The Office, Always Sunny Philadelphia, South Park. I guess I should point out that a lot of these movies and shows are pretty R-rated, and I know I've got some youngins out there in the audience, so make sure you're not watching anything you shouldn't be watching. And lastly, I would say my guilty pleasure show would be Survivor. I'm kind of a big Survivor guy. But yeah, that's a lot of listing things off there, but like I said, I just think you can learn a lot about someone by knowing what they like to watch and listen to. But that's enough about me. I also wanted to talk a little about how I'm going about this YouTube channel here, as well as how I like to play Minecraft, because everyone has their different ways of playing the game. And yeah, first and foremost, for the foreseeable future at least, this is predominantly going to be a single-player survival Let's Play channel. It's just always been my favorite way to play, and it's my favorite type of Minecraft videos to watch. And I just like having to earn everything myself and have complete control of the happenings in my world. Now, as a YouTuber, it would probably be smart for me to look into jumping into an SMP of some kind, and I won't say I won't ever do it, but for now, it's just not something I see myself doing anytime soon, for a few reasons. The first being that I'm trying to build up this channel as comfortably and authentically as I possibly can, and there's just no denying that to be in an SMP, you kind of got to be ready to do a little acting and play a character, which definitely nothing wrong with, and some people are really good at, but that's just not something I'm interested in doing at the moment. Another thing holding me back is that I'm honestly just not very savvy when it comes to the technical side of things, and I'm playing on my Xbox, which makes things even harder. I know I've mentioned it in a previous video, but for those who don't know, I make these videos just by taking clips on my Xbox, which can't be longer than 4 minutes. I know I could get an external hard drive and make things longer, but like I said, I'm just not very technical, and I'm just going with what's working for now. And yeah, I just put together my clips on my iPhone in iMovie, and the Xbox doesn't even record my voice, so I have to just edit the clips together, and then I just speak over the top right into my iPhone. I don't even have a mic, so essentially I just need to make some upgrades, and joining an SMP while I'm on Xbox would just be kind of complicated. I do plan on making a shift at some point and moving over to PC, and obviously getting a mic and all kinds of upgrades, which will open up my options a bit and upgrade the quality of my videos, but I've just always been a console gamer, so I'm just riding it out until I feel the real push to make a change. It's not that I'm afraid to try new things, I definitely will, but a part of me wants to just see how far I can get, kind of staying in my comfort zone before I step too far out of it. I'm trying to look long term for this channel, and if I want it to be something that lasts and is sustainable, I've really got to truly be enjoying what I'm doing first and foremost to avoid burnout, which is definitely a thing. I've seen signs of it myself. So I'm willing to sacrifice some channel growth and all that to just be able to do what sounds fun to me at the time. And yeah, as far as how I go about playing the game itself, I would say I probably play slower than most, obviously focusing mainly on building. I've played almost 2,200 days in this Let's Play world here, and I'm yet to have nether armor. I'm yet to really explore an ancient city. I was in the world for 6 months before I finally went to the end, and I haven't been there since. I don't have a real XP farm or anything, so yeah, you can see I just kind of go at a nice slow pace. I would say I build in a fairly small to medium scale, and I just like to let the builds add up into something bigger and cool. I try to have each building have some kind of purpose, however big or small that purpose might be, which is a good way to stay interested in your Minecraft world. Just in my last episode's a perfect example. I could have built all 4 microfarms in one building, or even built them into a cliff or something like that, but instead I just gave each individual farm its own tree house, and now we've got 4 awesome tree houses, and it's an awesome part of my base. And there will come a time when I build bigger buildings and bigger farms, but I'm honestly in no rush to get to that point, because that's kind of when it starts to feel like you're close to the end game and close to being done, and it starts to turn into creative mode essentially at that point. As much as I like building, I do like the survival aspect of having to gather things and do a little grind session every now and then. I also want to try to keep my world as relatable and achievable to anyone who wants to take inspiration from it, where sometimes a world with just a whole bunch of mega builds can be a little overwhelming, in my opinion at least. So yeah, overall I'm super happy with the pace of my world so far, and I'm really enjoying the idea of moving away a couple thousand blocks every now and then and just starting fresh again. And by doing that whenever I need to, I can honestly say I see no end to this world at this point. And it will always be the central focus of this channel. I will break off and try something different every now and then, but I'll always circle back to this world, and I'm real excited to watch it grow over the years to come. And yeah, I think that's been a pretty good chat. Let you get to know me a little bit better and kind of know my plans for the channel here, and we made some pretty good progress in the background here. We got 6 of these trees put in, which by the end I was in a pretty good groove there, and I think they look really cool, just getting that different shape in the sky there, and definitely adds a lot to the base. And living in the spruce forest here, I'll definitely be having to build some trees. But yeah, when you compare them to the vanilla trees, they really make a huge difference. And yeah, not going to make a habit out of asking for subs and likes and all that good stuff, but I will for this time. If you liked what you heard and kind of like my outlook for the channel, go ahead and hit that sub and come along for the ride. I'd be happy to have you. Yeah, with that, we'll call it an episode here. As always, thanks for coming, and have a good day.